Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Saturday, the weekend, March 1st. Spring is coming, right, guys? So, with it being the weekend instead of the weekday, we kind of go off the rails a little bit and try to do a little bit of personal development of how to make us better than what we are today. So, hang tight. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. If you didn't already know it, my name is Eric, and this is the weekend. And yes, March 1st, 2025. If you're interested in the business side of it, that's the weekday, Monday through Friday. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about how to become awesome, how to become better than. I know you're trying to be awesome, but how do we? I'm trying to figure out the right words. See, what ends up happening with so many people is they get stifled. And what do I mean by stifle? It could be their own demise, right? And it means working too hard, people not appreciating them, trying to fit a mold that you just can't fit into, or trying to please other people. None of them work. I'm telling you right now. And what I see is when I see people trying to do that, I see depression set in, loneliness set in, the loss of who they are, and that they're destined to live this way. The great thing is they aren't. You aren't if you feel that way. Sheep? So what am I talking about? I'm talking about that quirky, crazy ass person that you really are that needs to shine. If you're trying to fit in with your friends and you can't be yourself, you have the wrong friends. You need to find new friends. Friends that enjoy being with the real you. Family, you're kind of stuck with them. Sorry. But you can limit your exposure, right? You need to be able to be the quirky you. And the only way you're going to be happy is by allowing yourself that privilege. And it's not really a privilege. I'm kind of mincing words here of what you're destined to be. God didn't put you on this earth to try to fit somebody else's mold. He already made the mold. He made you every bit of quirkiness and crazy that you are. So why are you trying to fit into a different mold than what you came as? And each one of us are unique, right? We're not the same. We may like some of the same foods, but we're not the same. Trying to be somebody that you're not doesn't work. And I see this so often, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I've done it myself. I wanted to be the cool kid. And what I really was the quirky one. Hanging out with just the unpopular guys and gals. But I thought, if I could only be cool, if I could only be something that they are, something that I'm not, that I could shine. If only, right? But I think the kids that thought they were cool weren't happy either. Because they were trying to be something other than themselves. They were trying to become cool. You have to allow yourself to live and be the real you. That's the key. If you're waiting for somebody else to try to bring that out, it may never come. Because I can tell you right now, you know, most people are so wrapped up within themselves that they don't see what's going on with other people. It's all about themselves, all about ourselves. And that's not right either. You can't make your whole life about yourself either. That doesn't work. Because people will get tired of you. It's one of those give and take things that you have to do. And that's life and happiness is give and take. If you're having a bad day, understand that it's a bad day and not a life sentence. If you made the wrong decision on a project at work, what have you, understand that we're not perfect. So perfection is unattainable, so why are you trying to be perfect? You can't be perfect. I can't be perfect. I'd like to be as perfect as possible, but I know that perfection can't be had. So how do we get out of this, being on a treadmill and going nowhere philosophy? It's to start being the real you. To allow yourself to come out and to shine. Is it going to be a turnoff to some of your friends? Possibly. But were they really your friends? See, I define a good friend as a therapist. And why is that? Well, a therapist, they're HIPAA compliant, which is a medical jargon for saying that they are bound to keep what they hear from you private, unless you are a threat to yourself or someone else. And then that breaks the HIPAA rule. But the discussion and what you tell your therapist stays in that meeting. What defines a good friend? A best friend. One that no matter what you tell them, it stays with them. Unless they feel that you're a threat to yourself or others. Then they may ask for intervention, but for the most part, they know you're just letting off steam. They know a lot of the things that you're just going on about are about nothing, but it's just coming out as that. They're not trying to interject themselves into the situation, they're listening. And they may have earbuds listening to music and not you, and you talk for the last half hour of how you hate everybody, and they didn't hear a word of it. That's a true friend. But no, if you try to fit somebody else's mold other than God's mold, you're not going to be a happy camper. If you decide today enough is enough, how do you claw your way back? How do you do it? Well, what's worked for me in the past, and that's why I say I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I've been on both sides of the fence. You first have to find out what your likes and dislikes are all over again. You need to let that child inside you come forward. What makes you laugh? What makes you cry? What brings you joy? And I'm not talking about if you have anxiety, a loss of a loved one, what have you. I'm not saying that what brings you joy is food. You're just using food as a crutch, as an in between. You can't use stuff as crutches and then hope to get better. You have to identify it for what it really and truly is. If you're grieving a loss of a loved one, that's probably the simple one. Is don't forget, embrace them. They're still around. They're still guiding us. If you're willing to listen. If you're feeling lonely and nobody understands you, and you go to food or go to drinking or whatever vice you decide to take on, you're not helping the situation, right? You're using something, a prop, to try to either take those feelings away and bring a joyful sensation. And a lot of people do that with food. Very much so. And you look at people and you say, how can they be so heavy? It's because that's what they've turned to make their lives better. Because food never says no. But what does it end up? It all starts with you. You got to love yourself, right? If you hate yourself the way you are, then why not just change yourself to somebody that you would like? And what I find is instead of having it all about me, I look at others and I ask, how can I help you to make your day brighter, to make your day better? Because what I find that brings me the most joy is some of the simplest things that I do that make other people happy as well. You know, that simple kind gesture, smile at somebody. You'll find that the majority of the time they'll smile back. Do something for somebody else that's not expecting it. In a positive way. I'm serious. Stop trying to be something that you're not. Start today being the real you. And if the real you chases your friends off, find new friends. If the real you is somebody the family is discouraged by, limit your exposure with them. But you need to find out how to bring that quirkiness back out. And like I say, I was shown by example and with an individual that was very close to me. And what he did was, he never competed with anybody else in his life. And you're going to say, well, that's crazy. Maybe, but hear me out. He never competed with anybody else because he competed with himself. He decided early on that he was going to be the best that he could be. And it didn't matter whether it was dad or a good husband or a good coworker or a good friend. He always strived to become better at everything in his life every day. He competed against himself. And why is that important? Because if you're competing with someone else, they may have their bar set here, right? And when you compete with yourself, you're able to attain a higher bar, because if you compete with this one, then you're only going to the limits of what they put in place instead of what you're truly capable of. It sounds simple, but that's what life is. Life is simple. We make it complicated. We do it purposely, overcomplicating things. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. It's a simple concept. Just be yourself. Compete against yourself to be better at whatever you want out of life. If you're looking for love, stop looking. It will find you in the weirdest of places. Keep your ears and your eyes open. Be with somebody that wants you to be you. Wants to know the real you. Loves that quirkiness and that childlike person when they come out, when you come out. So on that note, you guys have a great Saturday, and we might do a Sunday sermon tomorrow. So on that note, you guys have a great day.